Big time, Martin. This is a sort of once in 30-year story. Japan used to be the biggest maker of memory DRAM way back in the 70s into the early 80s. It then, like you say, sort of went out of the semiconductor space as a major player, and now it's back after 30 years. And it's a very exciting story, which has got a lot of background to it. Obviously, geopolitically, Japan is very well placed because it's quite well protected. If I may put it frankly, there's not that much sort of military direct risk for the country. It's militarily allied to the US. Technologically, Japan has extraordinary educational and expertise, infrastructure, and Japan has decades worth of history in working in some of the most complex semiconductor processes. So there's a lot of background to the stories that we're seeing on Rapidus. And remember, TSMC has already 2 plants here, which are also drawing on Japanese semiconductor technology, although it's TSMC that's putting it all together there. Micron's announced a DRAM factory recently.
Well, okay, and you're playing this whole story or narrative up and down the chip supply chain in Japan, yes?
That's exactly right, Martin. We've got about $1 billion invested in the Japanese semiconductor space, as you put it, up and down the supply chain, from makers of chips themselves. Some of the Japanese companies like ROHM that make silicon carbide chips for electric vehicle inverters, to companies in the semiconductor equipment space that are doing indispensable niche businesses without which you wouldn't be able to use that device on your desk right now, without which all of us wouldn't have our mobile devices. These companies that you're listing on the screen here, from Tokyo Electron to Macnica, are the only companies in the world that do these specific processes, materials, which are indispensable to semiconductor design. And the investment we're seeing from the government in the Rapidus plant levers on the strength of companies like this. Yes, we invested heavily. They've been a very successful area of investment for our fund. And we expect that story to continue for many years, actually.
Richard, Tokyo Electron at the top of that list, is that just incidental, or is it significant that the market cap surpassed Sony because it's so leveraged to the AI boom and in what NVIDIA is doing?
It's not coincidental, Sri. I think your question is very relevant. Tokyo Electron has become the world's third largest semiconductor equipment maker. As NVIDIA grows in importance, as the semiconductor industry generally becomes important, Tokyo Electron's role in that is beyond question. I think it's very important to realize that Tokyo Electron dominates areas of lithography, semiconductor miniaturization, and there's no other company in the world that does the specific things they do in oxide etch and something called coat developer, which is used with the ASML scanner devices. Yes, their market cap growth is very natural, I think, given the opportunity that they face.